Hey guys, welcome back to Back Sports, and I'm back with another video. And yes, the season is on its way, guys. We're almost there, and I'm really excited because this is going to be the first season where I get to cover every single game. Because I remember last season I started near the end of the season, or the tail end of the season, really. And this is going to be my first season with an off season of coverage and a full season. So if you really want to stay up to date with all of my takes and my information that I'm giving out, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps me out a lot. It really helps me create content like this for you guys. But anyways, on to the video. I really wanted to do a quick NFC North division prediction right now because with the season coming up, I really want to make sure that I get my final or semi-final predictions of what exactly I feel the division is going to shape out to be, because the NFC North, as you can tell, is going to be a very interesting division because you not only have a bunch of teams that, were very high question marks last season, but now are have a lot of expectations, especially for three different teams, and maybe you can even say all four teams. And, they've drastically, or most likely relatively improved. And they're going to be games and matchups where it's going to be very interesting how they play out. Anyways, let's get on with fourth place. And this has been a tough one, really, because, I really want to say, the Vikings, but you have to also consider the Bears as well, because, you're not necessarily sure how it's going to play out. Both of them have, new quarterbacks at play with Caleb Williams in Chicago. And then you have Sam Darnold with maybe J.J. McCarthy if he ends up playing. But to be fair, J.J. McCarthy is now on the depth chart as a third string from what I remember. Let's take a look real quick. And yes, or actually he's the second, because apparently Nick Mullins is listed as third. But with J.J. McCarthy as a rookie, I think Sam Darnold plays out majority of the season until something absolutely goes horrendous and Kevin O'Connell's let's see what Mullins can do, or throw J.J. McCarthy out there. And overall, I think the Minnesota Vikings are an interesting team because they have relatively the same talent as last year, but with a different QB at the helm. You still have Justin Jefferson, who just got a bag this season, the off season, and you have Jordan Addison, who is a very strong wide receiver too, and took over games when it came to Justin Jefferson being hurt. And their defense, they lost a lot of talent. They, Daniil Hunter was one of their best edge rushers, and now he's no longer on the team. And you're relying on a lot of defensive ends and linebackers to pick up the slack. And, while they did get Dallas Turner in the draft, I think it will still take a while for him to really get acclimated into the NFL. And, Kevin O'Connell is a great coach. You have nothing to worry about that. And let's take a look at their strength of schedule, because overall their schedule, from what I've seen, is pretty hefty. You have Houston, San Francisco, Green Bay, New York Jets if Aaron Rodgers is healthy, Los Angeles, Jacksonville could be a different one. I think their schedule overall, they're ending the season just similar to the Bears, with a bunch of division rival games. So, that's going to be a tough stretch if they tend to, face Indianapolis, who has a strong team as well. Arizona, probably not really a strong team, but to start off the season with San Francisco, Green Bay, and Houston, and New York, potentially, all four games, that's going to be tough. So if in that case, I feel it's a very big toss-up. I feel like they can finish either, 5-12, or even they could even finish 9-8. You never know, because Kevin O'Connell can, facilitate an offense, and I really trust him and his experience to develop or even bring Sam Darnold to a respectable level. However, I think that this division is pretty competitive and is going to be competitive. So I'm going to say that the Vikings are going to be fourth place. And this is a toss-up between the Bears and the Vikings, really. But I think I hear me out, okay? I think that the Chicago Bears are going to be a solid team. They're going to be good this year. Let's take a look at their depth chart real quick. And overall, you've probably seen me hundreds of times talk about, the new depth chart, the big three in wide receiver room with Roma Dunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore for Caleb Williams, and a two tight ends set with Cole Kmet and what was the other guy's name? I keep forgetting his name. Oh, sorry, Gerald Everett. He's also really good. And they also re-signed Mercedes Lewis back for a very sweet deal. And I think he's going to be pretty solid, with a very veteran presence for a young quarterback like him. You address the, left tackle with Kiran. I still can't pronounce his last name, but Karan, let's call him Karan, right? Braxton Jones is a big question mark going into the season. We'll see how he plays out and turns out to be. Tevin Jenkins, if healthy, is going to be pretty solid. He's been very, very productive, and he's one of the best offensive tackles, or left guards, in the NFL when healthy. And he missed a couple games this season, but I feel like with the health, he'll be fine. Darnell Wright, even through injury, had a solid rookie year, one of the best talents out of that draft. And, you're seeing this offensive line slowly come to fruition. Nate Davis is going to be a huge question mark. And you add the running back room with DeAndre Swift. Khalil Herbert is still coming back. Roshan Johnson, young talent who could be more going into the season, who could even be running back too if Khalil Herbert doesn't stay healthy or falls apart. Defense is going to be the defense. We still need a defensive tackle. We need edge rusher specifically. So until that's addressed, we're probably going to address that in the trade deadline or by the trade deadline. So we shall see. We might sign Yannick Ngakoue back. You never know. Anyways, this is the big question mark. Is Matt Eberflus going to help this team, go far, right? That's the big question going into the season, alongside Caleb Williams panning out. And I think that, with 2 years already, and this is going to be his third and final chance to really prove that. He has a fresh start with a fresh quarterback. He's shown that he can lead a defense at the tail end of the season. I mean, obviously the Green Bay game didn't pan out that way, but you see that, he's taking strides as a head coach. And I think with the improved offense, not turning the ball over, having Shane Waldron as your offensive coordinator, having defensive coordinator help with Eric Washington, I think that will help him make his case to, be a pretty solid head coach in the season. Is he on the hot seat? Absolutely. But I think, he's going to be able to be fine, and he will improve this team to have more wins than last season. Last season, it was a lot of blowing leads. I think this season's going to be a little bit different. Anyways, that being said, let's take a look at the schedule real quick, because that's very important. The schedule overall, pretty straightforward. It's kind of similar to the Vikings, really. We have San Francisco. But the thing is, what's nice about the schedule for at least a rookie quarterback like Caleb Williams is that all our divisional games happen later in the season. So that really does help our young quarterback's confidence going into the season. So, having later games happen. We have the AFC South, which is a pretty tough division to face, but I think that this schedule is pretty manageable, except for like maybe Detroit one game, San Francisco, Green Bay maybe a one game. I think we will win against Green Bay at least one time. I have yet to see that happen, but until we do, I'm still going to be a little pessimistic, but I feel like we have some kind of a shot this season. And Houston is going to be a problem to face. Jacksonville could be a problem. Los Angeles. But there are winnable games. I feel like our defense can hold strong. So that being said, I think that we're almost there. But we'll have above 9 to 10 wins. But realistically, I think we're going to be third place because of the two teams I'm going to mention for 1 and 2. If you watched this far into the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, we're on the road to 500 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for the support. And let's get back to the video before I start yapping again. I think that this division is going to be against two teams, right? Green Bay and Detroit. Green Bay showed a lot of promise last year because, you have the um the quarterback question last year with, is Jordan Love going to be the successor to Aaron Rodgers? Is he going to like live up to the expectations of what Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Bart Starr, whatever set for this franchise? And do they have their star quarterback? And unfortunately, as a Bears fan, it's not very nice, but they finally do have their quarterback. They have Jordan Love, and Jordan Love is really good. But the only issue I have with this team still is that they're still very, very young. They're a very young team, and with Matt LaFleur as their head coach, he's amazing as a head coach. As much as I hate to say it, he's going to be fine. He knows he's very experienced. And let's take a look at the depth chart for the Green Bay Packers right now. And, you still have very young wide receiver core, Jalen Reed, Romeo Doubs, and Christian Watson. Christian Watson's health is going to be a main concern. Dontavian Wicks is going to be there. Heath, you have a pretty solid. Melton as well is going to be a pretty solid. I remember he made a lot of crucial catches last season. Their offensive line is all right. It's nothing crazy. Musgrave and Kraft are very young tight ends that are still developing. I think they're going to still develop them. But the main acquisition that they got was Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs has been really good on the Raiders. And will he live out expectations of being the running back for the Packers like how Aaron Jones was? And I think he will still be able to be very productive, especially with an offensive line like the Green Bay Packers have, because the one thing that Aaron Jones was able to do was be very effective with a good offensive line. And Josh Jacobs, even with a crap offensive line on the Raiders, was still able to be very productive. So imagine how he can be with a good offensive line with the Green Bay Packers. So all in all, I think that this team is still pretty good. Very young team. Very, very young team overall, all in all. They got rid of David Bakhtiari, but they were still able to manage without him. And I think that they're going to continue doing that, unfortunately. They got a Jordan Morgan from the draft, pretty solid pick in general, and I think that I think he's going to be pretty good for them. Rashawn Gary, didn't he? No, yeah, Rashawn Gary, Van Ness, all the defense. I think their defense is still going to be fine. Jair's a question mark, but I think he's going to be all right. Anyways, let's look at their schedule right now, and I think overall their schedule is pretty similar. Why can't I click it? Okay. So their schedule is pretty hefty as well. They have the Dolphins, they have Seattle, New Orleans. They have the Eagles in Brazil. I'm pretty sure that's where the game is happening. Overall, pretty manageable schedule for them, especially for a team like them. With a few tail end division games, I think they're going to be fine. Unfortunately, they're probably going to finish. That's the thing. It's either they're going to finish with the same amount of wins as last year, or they're going to have an extra win and either take the first spot or second. But to be on the safer side, I think that they're going to finish second again because of the team I'm going to mention right now. Because, while I do really like what they're doing, really like is a very understatement, but I really think that they have a solid plan set for Jordan Love and his future with the playoff win already. With a playoff win and an almost win against the 49ers last season, the sky's the limit for this team. And not as much of a limit as the Detroit Lions. And I think the Detroit Lions are going to take the division again because their team continues to get better. Yes, Jared Goff isn't the best, most sexiest pick for a quarterback, but I think overall, the Detroit Lions have a solid team. They have a solid team last year, and they've only improved it through the draft. They kept trading back. They kept collecting picks and then improving this roster. Well, let's take a look at the roster as well, because man, the fact that they've really changed this team from what it used to be, and now they have expectations, very much so. They was able to bring back Ben Johnson, and Dan Campbell. As much as you go for the fourth down. Like, he's still a very, very good head coach, you know? So you can't really, say anything about this team, but they've only made improvements, but Montgomery, Gibbs are going to be the two-headed dragon that's going to be their running back core, because they're going to be really good. Jared Goff is pretty solid. There's nothing really much else to say. He got paid the bag as well, so expect more pretty solid play. And I think that the fact that they retained Ben Johnson for another season, that means they're going to push for like a Super Bowl essentially, and I think that's really solid. Sam Laporta, really, really good tight end. Really got the pick correct here, at least compared to what they had with TJ Hawkinson. And Brock Wright, pretty solid pick as well. He was really good last year, excuse me. Penei Sewell, really solid. Very solid offensive line. Nothing much really else to say. The same Brown, Khalif Raymond. I think the real question mark is sometimes their wide receiver room. Jamison Williams is a big question mark for them, but besides that, I think that some way, like the red zone offense has to really click for this team. The defense, Aiden Hutchinson only keeps getting better. Jack Campbell, Kirby Joseph is a really good. They've really helped with their secondary. Especially in the draft specifically, I think they got a lot of young talent, and they're gonna be fine. And yeah, I think that this is gonna be pretty much what plays out. Detroit is first, Green Bay second, Bears are third, and Vikings are fourth. Do you guys agree with this, list? Do you love it? Do you hate it? What would you change about it? Let me know down in the comments below. I would love to read what you guys have to say. And as always, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.